comments and call for Ollie to give contribution.
Right, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having me back again. It's always nice to come back to my old debating union. Before I start, I know the other speakers have given a little bit of an introduction to those people that don't know them, and I will do the same. All I will say is my comments are only representative of my views and not those of the MDU, so if I offend you in any way, I'm not really that bothered. What I want to talk to you today about is a little bit different from what we've heard so far. I'm going to rebook quite a bit of what the previous speakers on side proposition have said. I'm then going to extend some of the logic that Scott was talking about earlier. I'm going to talk to you basically about the monarchy as a strong diplomatic asset for this country, and then I'm going to talk about a little point that I've niched into HMPLC and what the brand of the Queen actually does for this country, and then I'm going to talk to you about modernity and relevance, because we've heard quite a lot of that from the Republic, that this is all about modernity and how relevant it is. Do the people want it? Do they want to have some supposed non-partisan, non-political person as their head of state? We'll analyse that later. Firstly, a couple of things rebutting. It actually takes on quite a lot of what they've been saying about hereditary principle. What they're feeding you is a total myth. It's misleading. To say that getting rid of the monarchy would abolish hereditary principles being in place in our political life is total nonsense. Take it from a politician. If there's an elected office with some degree of power and some degree of influence, we will be there and we will try to get that position. Look at the police commissioners. Everyone said, oh no, they'll be impartial and all this kind of stuff. But we've still got party-backed people. We've still got people there. How are you supposed to fund an election campaign, for instance, if you haven't got anyone supporting you? There will always be bias. There will always be political bias wherever you go. Even direct family hereditary principle in Parliament is still going on, even in elected positions. Look at the scores of MPs out there who have been friends of MPs and moved in the circles of the political class for years. This is just an elected aristocracy we have in Parliament, not a wholly equal platform upon which citizens can launch themselves for political office. It's totally and utter nonsensical to say that we would have a non-political, non-partisan person as president. I don't think side proposition have actually made any kind of a case to justify themselves in claiming that. So moving on to the diplomatic asset. They've spoken a lot about how, this is an idea in keeping with academic integrity. We're here in the University of Manchester, and that somehow makes us feel good about ourselves. We're enlightened and we're taking a view on this. But in actual fact, it's very colourless and bland. I mean, do you really want to be part of a country? Do you see countries welcoming the German president lining the streets in droves when he pays a state diplomatic visit? No, you don't. The Queen represents something that is different. It's new. It's an institution steeped in thousands of years of history. It's attractive to people. It gets them out on the street. It promotes Britain as a brand. It represents an idea, something which is different from the old, boring, clinical, Americanized way of running government. It's something which is encapsulating of a national identity. It represents that in a cultural way as well as a diplomatic way abroad. Secondly, on the issue of HMPLC and the economic benefits we'll get, you will see that Republic have kindly brought some of their literature along with you, and on there you will see about what the monarchy costs us, and a very dangerously misleading quote there that apparently we can pay for 10,000 nurses on there. Not, taking any sort of recognition of what the cost of the presidency would be, but by the by. In terms of the economic benefits of monarchy, there was a study done by a company called Brand Finance, which are one of the leading sort of specialists in terms of the brand benefit analysis and what kind of economic benefits they can bring. They found that in actual fact royal warrants and other such schemes give a significant boost to business. The royal warrant scheme is valued at over £4 billion. This is obviously where things like the coat of arms will be placed on products that help sell the products. Also you've got things like tourism fact into it. In terms of sort of valuations on the profit and loss, over a 5-year period, the monarchy will deliver for Britain £26.37 billion, and that is profit. That exempts anything, that's taken into account everything from the civil list, all maintenance of the Crown Estate, everything. The monarchy is good for Britain economically. It's good for Britain culturally and diplomatically in the world. I don't really see a a justification from this side as to why we should do away with that. In a time of economic hardship, surely we need to be promoting things which are actually pretty good about this country, actually pretty productive about this country. And to be honest with you, would a struggling, hard-working person in the street honestly say, yeah, let's get rid of monarchy? I mean, it brings a lot to this country, but yeah, I agree with your dreamt-up sociological nonsense from the universities of this country. I don't think that would carry much track with them. Just to give you a wee little quote from David Hay, the CEO of Brand Finance, he actually said, I know we've heard from Thomas Paine, a man I've not had that much desire really to read much of after I with such quotes like that. David Hay said, the monarchy is one of the most valuable of all British brands. He said that whatever one thinks about the constitutional principle, and I will move on to that in a second, there seems to be little doubt that the institution of monarchy has significant annual earnings and long-term economic value to the UK. So what you should be asking yourself before you vote on the motion in about half an hour or so is not really what is great about the idea of a republic, but also what is good about monarchy. Well, what is it? Why have we kept it for so long? There must be a reason. And I think the reasons that I've given you so far actually do justify that case quite significantly. Would we want to destroy such a valuable part of our cultural and our economic identity as a result? The final point I want to talk about is also relevance and how, the man in the street is extremely apathetic about monarchy and, some people want to get rid of it and everything. When I saw people in the streets and on the river for the Jubilee or turning out for the royal wedding, I didn't really get that impression. I'm not sure what you did. I mean, talking to a few people in Manchester, fair enough, you might get that impression. But when you see people on the streets, the joy that it caused, the national sense of good feeling that we got from those events was good, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because it may not justify itself entirely in the strictest forms of direct democracy, I don't really see what the problem is there. And I think that side proposition need to sort of take a step back and think about some of the more valuable things, not just what is justified in terms of our own rigid democratic principles. Also, I'd like to think also about relevance. I mean, they've spoken, sort of about modernity and why we need to elect people, but to be honest with you, the monarchy is one of the very few institutions in this country which the public actually have quite a bit of faith in, quite a bit of support for. At the moment, you've got a coalition which is paranoid in government about offending anyone, it's paranoid about who it will lose the support of, and you have a Labour Party that's run by talentless, cliche-trotting morons. What do the people have any faith in? They are totally apathetic about their political leaders, totally apathetic about their political system. But they're in favour and have a lot of faith in the monarchy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me. I look forward to taking your questions. As I say, remind yourself of what's good about the monarchy, why we've kept it here, and what the dangers would be, despite the myths being held on side proposition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and God save you.